Hello and welcome to Cheche, the show where opinion counts, live on Citizen TV. I'm your host, Udwa Kamimo. Now, we can't seem to get enough of budgets lately. If it's not the wage bill, it's the national or county budgets. At the heart of all this fiscal talk is devolution, and whether 1 year on, as some claim, it is being starved of resources. Well, the Commission for Revenue Allocation, the CRA, is responsible for the sharing formula that divides income between the national and county governments. The head of the CRA is Micah Cheserem, and he's our guest today. I say our because, as usual, there is a panel here with me comprising of Mutegi Njau of Royal Media Services and David Makali. Good morning and welcome back to Cheche. It's been a while since we saw you here. So we'll start, with a, accusation that devolution is being frustrated. Do you agree with that claim?
Let me say thank you again for having me here. I don't think devolution is being frustrated. There are two camps of people. There are those who really are for devolution. There are those who do not know what's going on. And there are those who really fear devolution. They fear the unknown. And remember, power has been centralized for a long time. So this diverse division of power threatens a lot of interests.
So what's your assessment of devolution a year later?
Well, devolution a year later, one can say we've done well. We expected challenges, but not the level of challenges we have seen. And I was telling someone on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give devolution 60% as a start for the first 1 year.
Why 60%?
60% because on the successes front, the structures have been set up. If you go on the ground, which you all must go on the ground, there are actually real success stories. I asked my commissioner the other day to go to Bomet because there was an issue there. And I told them, before you come back, I want you the pictures of anything which has been done in Bomet. And I can tell you, in Bomet, they showed me rigs of National Youth Service drilling water. And I could see the water was coming out. I saw roads and I saw Maram. I saw the hospital, one of the hospitals I think called Kablong. You could see it has changed. So you can go to some areas and really see real change. So 1 year, it started very turbulent. We started late. There were budget problems, everything you can imagine. So I would say overall, 60%.
And the 40% that you're withholding, why are you withholding
the
that?
The 40% I withhold because we began very badly. Very badly. The level of wrangling has been very sudden. Wrangling, first and foremost, inside the county government. The executive and the county assembly, they have been fighting over the money. How much should go to the county assembly? How much the executive? They don't realize this is not their money, this is public money. It's meant for public services. So that wrangling has saddened us the most. Then there's been a second issue of wrangling around the governor. You've noticed the governors have been fighting with senators. Before long, the governors are fighting with the MPs. They are fighting with MCAs. It's been very disappointing.
The way you phrase it, though, I'm sure governors would say everybody's fighting with them and not the other way around.
I am not apportioning blame. I'm saying these are people who have been elected. They know their remit. When you are appointed governor, you know what is your role. If you are appointed senator, you know what is your role. You are a member of parliament, you know your role. County assembly, but what are we being treated to? You see a senator going in a public, in a funeral, and saying very bad things about a governor.
Were you surprised at this?
I'm very, we expected problems, but not this level of rancor. But this is a new structure. And it's very clear. I have a background from the private sector. If elections were called tomorrow, I think 80% of all our elected leaders will be sent home, in my opinion, because they have disappointed Kenyans. They have only got 4 years to turn around. So that's my disappointment, because devolution in itself is a very good thing. But many of the leaders do not appreciate that they have to march in one direction, do their job, because their job is cut out.
To what extent does this reflect back on you and your commission? Because, of course, you sit in between allocating funds and resources, and a lot of the wrangling that we're seeing has to do with access and control of those resources, and the size, of course, as well.
Yes, yes. The Commission of Revenue Allocation, when you read the Constitution, it does not say we have to be peacemakers. It does not say we have to be mentors of governors. But from what I see now, we have to be. Because the whole fight is about money. I asked them of the governors and senators, why are you fighting over money? And the MPs told me, look, Mr. Cheserem, don't touch CTF. Don't even open your mouth. Don't lecture about CTF. Why? Because they said, to be elected, you must show something you have done. So the currency in the public eye is money. And this person called the governor is holding the jackpot. So everybody must fight him. They all happen to be men now. So our commission, we work behind the scenes to ask them, look, this is not the money of the governor. This is the money of the people. We haven't gone further. We can ask them, let us form what we call County Leaders Consultative Forum, where the MP, the senator, the governor, they all meet in the county. And the governor is the convener. Of course, you have heard something else. The senator wants to go and be the chair
of the County Development
or County Development Board. That causes more confusion. So it's true, we are, I would say myself, maybe I failed a bit. I didn't realize this part has to be done. The peacemaking, bringing dialogue, getting people to discuss. So we're working at it.
In your opinion, Mr. Cheserem, the motions in the House, especially the National Assembly, targeting to regulate or cut governors to size, does not amount to fighting devolution. You have not seen it in those terms.
The members of parliament, MPs, they are saying that they have been excluded by the governors. And they are right. Secondly, they are saying, if we don't have any projects to show, how will we be re-elected? But remember, there's a new dispensation. The MP is supposed to make legislation in Nairobi. He's not supposed to want to pay a road in Kakamega. So it's also we Kenyans, we have to change. The currency of the public eye is money, 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 money. We must respect. If this gentleman is an MP, we should make him an MP and respect that he's going to make laws in Nairobi. If you are the senator, you are the senator, and you are in Nairobi. Don't come on the ground and try and dictate things. But we want a forum for consultation. The leaders should have a forum. And we want the governors to take the lead, to invite all the leaders, because these are elected leaders.
Yeah, but you say they fought off. Forum.
Since that development forum was cancelled, I mean, the motion was
defeated.
They were defeated.
When that bill came out initially, we saw it was going to be a problem as a commission. We actually amended it to be called County Leaders Consultative Forum.
Yes.
And in one meeting, some of the senators and governors had agreed. They agreed that this is the way. Consultative Forum, where they meet quarterly. Everyone has a say. But now, when you say you're going to be County Development Board, where the senator is going to chair, this, our constitution is the same as the U.S. It's a replica of the U.S. A senator in the U.S. does not go back to the state and chair anything. The senator in the U.S. does not go back to chair anything. Senators in the U.S. sit in Congress and they pass legislation. This is what we want our senators to do here. But I also want them to be able to be welcomed in the county and to give their contribution. This is what should happen. And we are really pushing hard. In fact, we are planning to have a one-day retreat of the senators and the governors so that we have a dialogue.
You seem to say, from your explanation, you will not entertain the clamor for women representatives to have their own, their own fund.
Yeah. They're also clamoring for their own fund.
Like CDF, they want to have something. As you say, the currency is in the development, in the money.
The position of CRA is very clear. The MP should not have CDF. Please don't tell them, because they'll be waiting to kill me outside there. There should be no fund for anybody. All the money should be in the county government. The county government then do a budget. The senator can go and have a say. The women can go and have a say. MPs can go and have a say. But it should be managed in one pot.
But even MCAs are looking for money. They also want to have their what money?
Exactly.
In that case,
so,
okay.
Where do we go to? Everybody wants something.
But that is exactly what I'm saying. If everyone wants something, we are now mutilating devolution. That was not the way it was meant to be. Yeah. It was meant that the money is sent to a county, there's a county executive, they prepare a budget, it goes to the county assembly, it is then discussed, and there's a big element to this, public participation. The executive and the county assembly should send a delegation throughout the county to say, what are your priorities before the budget is finalized? Do you want water? You go to Machakos and ask the people in Machakos, Kitui. Do you want a stadium? Do you want a new capital city called New Machakos City? Or do you want water?
The trouble, Chairman, is
yes.
this. A member of parliament represents an area which is also represented by a county, member of the county assembly, MCA.
Yes.
The MCA is going to the local county assembly,
yes,
where they're going to discuss the budget and allocations to that area.
Yes.
The MP has nowhere where he can discuss allocations to the same constituency, meaning he's basically impotent, to use that word. In terms of how he can impact the development of his constituency, yet he's supposed to oversee or lead in that development.
Remember,
would I suggest, okay, in the hybrid,
yes,
my thinking to compromise on what you're
yes,
saying,
yeah,
would we then say MPs should be ex officio members of the local county assembly, so they can also have a say in how the money will go, where it will go, what projects should be prioritized, because they have nowhere else to actually input or bring their thoughts into the expenditure at the national or the county government.
Madam was talking to me before we came about communication. The member of parliament has got 5 MCAs in his constituency. If he simply called them and say, hey, can we all of us meet? We know in April there will be a budget in the county. Can we, what are you guys thinking about? What project should we be fighting for our constituency? And by the way, me as an MP have so much money for CDF. Where do you want me to put this money? If there was that communication, there is no need for an MP to come and sit in a county assembly, because he will have talked to his MCAs. It's called communication.
But you see, there is no formal arrangement or structure that brings them together. And you know, all these guys, all these elected people, politicians are fighting for influence to bring the most to their corner.
And perhaps the MCAs belong to a different party from them.
I agree with you.
So there is chaos there that we have to prevent.
I'm not discounting the problems we are facing, but I'm saying the single employer is that manager. The manager is the employer. And if you are an MP, the others could have come from different parties. This is the problem in Kenya. We don't know when politicking stops and development starts. We've got to differentiate between politicking and development. And what stops? Why should a member of parliament require another structure to talk to MCAs?
Well, presumably, even though you've asked us not to tell them, they're sharpening their knives for you, as they do with anyone who encroaches on their turf.
Yes.
And so the challenge becomes, you seem to be making a lot of sense. For once, David and Mutegi are, wearing the same expression on their faces, which is that you're making sense. But how do you then justify your existence as a commission, given all the wrangling we're seeing? Because the argument would be that you don't understand the nature of politics and the needs of people on the ground.
Yes. I think one could say, disband this commission, CRA. I would advise them against it because, for a start, why was the Commission on Revenue Allocation formed? They have got two principal tasks. Actually, one. The major one is to share revenue between the national government and the county government. You've seen already, national government would like to keep all the cake. County government has said, Mr. Cheserem, you have done very poorly. We want 40%. You've only given us 20. If there was no Commission on Revenue Allocation, sincerely, the Treasury, because they are under a lot of pressure, they would have given them just a little bit of our job is to be in the middle and bring some equity. So that is our principal mandate. Second is to come up with a formula for sharing the money among the counties, which we have discussed, is being agreed, and would work already. If you read 2 days ago, the guys in Mandera are saying the money they got in this financial year is more than all the money they ever got for 50 years. They feel they now belong, courtesy of CRA. I'm not trying to exaggerate. So if you dismantle the Commission on Revenue Allocation, you are dismantling devolution, because this is the fuel for the plane. You cannot fly aeroplanes without fuel.
Do you think you need more powers?
Yeah.
Given that you cannot enforce, your proposals have to be still vetted by Parliament.
Yeah.
You can propose 279 as you did, billions this
True.
year. They'll give them 238 billion.
Especially as you're upsetting them on this show.
Yes, yes, it's true. Well, they are my friends.
So
Basically,
you think that?
yeah, they will not really do anything much against me because they know I mean it. Yes, I think going ahead, the Commission of Revenue Allocation's recommendations should be in FIAP final. They should not really be subject for. I think as we build capacity, as we build credibility, what the Commission of Revenue Allocation says should be accepted. But without the Commission of Revenue Allocation, because the whole war is about money. Secondly, as you said, do we need more powers? I don't think so, because this wrangling has to stop. The level of wrangling, if there was snap elections tomorrow for all the elected officers in the land, 80% of them will be sent home. They have only got 4 years. And our message is, please change direction. Focus on service delivery. Focus on what you promised.
You have told us that you're doing mentoring and reconciliation, kind of.
Yes.
And if the people you're trying to reconcile ignore you, because I don't know whether you have the mandate to do that. I think you have, out of humanity, you find this is a problem I need to sort.
Yes, you could ask yourself, why is CRA getting involved in mentoring, in reconciliation? It's because the money we are recommending is like the seed we are sowing on the land. If the land is very not leveled, nothing will come out. So we have realized, if the leaders are wrangling, if there is misuse of public resources, the people will get confused. So it's part of our job to make sure there is harmony. I can tell you, for example, a county like Kisii. I will only talk for good ones, so that they don't say I gave a very bad example. Dr. Obure, Senator Obure, there have been problems in Kisii with the county assembly, with the executive. Between Senator Obure and Governor Ongwae, they have gone public, they have resolved those issues. And there are other counties where things are going well.
Such as?
Mandera, Senator Kero. Remember Mandera, there was actually real war. People were fighting, blood. The good news is the northern counties, where they were the poorest, are the ones now with the best harmony. Amazing, amazing. Where there was complete chaos. Okay, we still have problems in Marsabit. But I congratulate Senator Kero, the governor of Mandera, and the MPs. They have met and sat down. You've seen it yourself. They have gone for a retreat. This is what we want every county to do, to go for a retreat and lead us and say, where is the way forward for our county?
Are you concerned that as you allocate this money to the counties, there are reports coming back of misuse, embezzlement, corruption, money misallocated to other functions, and therefore leading to calls that, in fact, the allocations to the counties should be reduced to 10%, not even 15%?
Yes. Last, we have always said we have to differentiate the two things. We have to segregate. Misuse of money is one aspect, and allocation is another aspect. There are institutions which are in charge of checking misuse of money, and we are very concerned. We've got Auditor General. Auditor General has people on the ground. We've got the control of the budget. We've got the anti-corruption body. So anybody misusing public money, even if it's the governor, they have to be brought before the law. But what we cannot do is now say because some money has been lost in this county, we reduce the allocation.
But we're not.
Because, put it this way, the national government is on record saying they lose through corruption 300 billion shillings. Have you heard that story?
Yes.
They lose 300 billion. How much are we recommending to counties? 200 and something.
Yes.
And that's already doing miracles. So we should all condemn misuse of public money.
But
So
just
what are you doing as
what
a
are you doing?
commission, though,
Yeah.
to plug those loopholes? Because it's corruption, misallocation, and misuse of funds. And so we can talk here about, the various institutions that exist to check these improprieties. But the fact remains that however the money is diverted away from its original intended use, people are suffering. So what do you, as a commission, do to create your own checks and balances?
Remember, as I said, we suddenly got concerned. We are only 50 people. But there are institutions without remit. There are institutions. We ourselves go on the ground. We've seen these things happening. But we have said...
So do you make recommendations for further investigations? Do you call up the Auditor General or the Ethics and Anti-Corruption people to say, this is what we're hearing, please have a look?
Actually, what has happened is the control of budget releases money, and the control of budget has got a person on the ground in every county. So whenever something is seen, they call in the Auditor General, they call in anti-corruption. But also, let me put it this way. Some of the things exaggerated by those anti-devolution.
Okay.
It's only 1 year. It's only 1 year woodwork.
That's very clear. It's
Yeah.
just that you said
Yeah.
that you didn't realize that you now had to take on a mediatory
Yes.
and reconciliatory role.
Yes.
So have you found that you also need to take up a watchdog role?
Yes, that one I have not found, because it says our job is, one of the remedies is to recommend on financing and financial management. Financial management includes all this.
Okay.
So already we are looking at it, and some of the counties, I think Mombasa and a county like Machakos, we are very happy to see what the Governor Mutua did about the vehicles. But we also did tell him, look, maybe it is not a role of the county government to buy vehicles for security, because we felt, myself, I go on the ground a lot, and when I go to the county of Machakos, because we have shared the counties as a commission, and I travel in Machakos, same as Makueni and Kitui, the level of desperation for water, I thought water is top priority, and I think the governor also did concede that maybe this money should have gone more to buy drill rigs, more to do water pumps. And this is the dialogue we have. We talk to them and say, look, is this a priority?
But most of this money, the way you've seen the control of that budget say, it's not that it's stolen. It is misused. For instance, there's a lot of conferences, there's a lot of meetings,
Yes.
sittings.
Yes.
Nairobi, for instance, every member of the county assembly for the last 6 months has received nearly 2 million shillings sitting. And that is the money which is supposed to do maybe health services, maybe the roads that are supposed to be done. But there's no stolen money. They want to pocket it.
It's true. I think that's the disappointment, because sitting allowances, we have this culture of meetings, and more meetings.
But Mr. Cheserem, there is something that I'm not quite clear with you. I mean, of course, you are the ones allocating the money.
Yes.
There is the issue of misappropriation or misuse of that money.
Yes.
It might not be within your legal mandate to follow and say, hey, you know, because there are other institutions which are doing that. But doesn't it concern you, and wouldn't you be raising issues with the relevant institutions as a follow-up and pressure to say, look, we're giving these guys money, but the use is not good? First of all, absorption of that money, obviously there's a problem because many of them are returning the money unspent. The financial year has come to an end, half the budgets are unspent, you're adding them more money, and the people are waiting to eat that money. Isn't it concerning you?
It concerns us, but let me again correct you there. No money is being returned. There is no problem of absorption. Again, this is planted in people's minds. But as he says, this question of sitting allowances. Remember, the money goes, they do a budget, but the huge budget for sitting allowances. Panamakali, there is no story of money being returned. It is true the Treasury...
Okay, let me rephrase it this way.
Yeah, just let me correct that.
Yeah.
The Treasury say they have got 40 billion, which is in the central bank.
Yes.
What they don't tell you is that part of that money is owed by the counties to national government. As late as yesterday, I asked, I want to see where are these 30 counties who have not repaid the money. We have got 47 counties. 17 have repaid the money, which was paid for them for salaries. There are 30 of them. Ministry of Health say they are about to close down because they are owed money. So I've told them I must get at least this morning. We must ring the governors. They must return the money. That's one. So that money is already owed the Treasury. Secondly, the projects which are being done,
Yes.
like ordering ambulances, doing roads, you don't pay money up front.
Yes.
This money has already been earmarked. The counties don't have the cash. I agree with him. Conferences, travels, these are
There's a report which came from, I think, the control budget,
Yeah,
that in the last 3 months, the money that had been budgeted for development was 112 billion.
Yes.
That the counties collectively had spent only 4 billion, which is less than 1/10% of the development budget expenditure. That's why I'm saying absorption, because either monies came late or the processes that they need to spend the money are dragging too long. That's what I'm addressing. And then secondly, perhaps as you deal with that, what happens to that unspent money? Or the counties will just keep that as their budget. This year they add on, if they spent only 3 billion out of 6 billion last year, they get 5 billion this year, so this year they have 8 billion. It keeps accumulating, or does it return to the central government?
Yes, that's a very good question. The money that has been sent to a county government will never be returned. But there is not enough money. There is not enough money. Have you gone to rural Kenya? But the process, madam, of buying equipment, I was talking to somebody from Nakuru now. They told me they have bought 17 graders. It took them a long time to buy because the procurement process takes time. I was told, Karisa, nothing much has happened. We rang the governor. I said, Governor, what have you done with the money? But the person who talked to us said, look, Karisa county government has not done anything much, but also they have not misused the money. They told us, no, we are following the process. We are going to launch a lot of projects. Please let us be patient with them. You are going to see good things happen.
Okay, it's just that we've heard conflicting reports about that money, as David says. First, you know, in defense of the money not being absorbed, we heard that development money was spent, but because the money was released late, the counties had a problem with paying their staff, so they then put the money towards paying their staff, towards recurrent expenditure. There were, you know, all these reports. So as you say, yes, there is some confusion, but you're here to clarify it.
Yes.
Where do we stand? Because you've also talked about counties owing the national government, say for instance within the health sector.
Yes, yes.
So how did we get to that, and how are we ensuring that that doesn't happen going forward?
Okay. When the counties came into play, when they were forced, and they devolved the Ministry of Health Services, it was agreed that the salaries for doctors and nurses would be paid by national government up to December 2013. You're all aware of that. For 6 months, it would be paid on their behalf with an agreement that the money is being remitted in total, but when you get the money, please refund. Then there was one major issue. The county says some of these doctors don't exist. They are not with us. So they were given a long list, but national government says, just pay and tell us who is not on the list. We will trace where the doctor is. In all likelihood, a doctor
Ghost
was...
workers.
They are not really necessarily ghost workers. A doctor is posted to Turkana. And the fellow says, I don't want to go to Turkana. So, but because documentation takes time, on the payroll he's seen in Turkana, but he's still in Nairobi and maybe working in Kenyatta or working in Apia House. So there was this debt to be paid back. And it was agreed that it cannot be deducted from the share of county government. It's going to be paid back. 17 counties are paid back. And the Ministry of Health have said they are grinding to a halt because there are 30 counties who have not paid us. And I told them yesterday, I must get that list. We must now talk to governors. You must pay back. Okay. Yes.
Right.
Let's look at
we have to take a break now. We'll come back to you, David. This is Cheche, live on Citizen TV. The chair of the Commission on Revenue Allocation, Micah Cheserem, is our guest this morning. Your questions for him are welcome on our SMS number, which is 22422, on our Twitter handle, which is @Cheche_TV.